The story I want to read to you today is not a book story. It's a story from a book. It's a read aloud treasury. And this story is written by Phyllis Krasilovsky. And she has written quite a few stories, and this is a good one. I think about this one and laugh every once in a while. And this is the story. There was once a man who lived alone in a little house on the edge of a town. He didn't have any wife. He didn't have any children. So he always had to cook his own supper, clean the house by himself, and he made his own bed. One night he came home hungrier than usual, so he made himself a big, big supper. It was a very good supper, and he liked to cook and would make very good things to eat. But there was so much of it, so that he grew very, very tired by the time he had finished. He just sat back in his chair, as full as he could be, and decided he'd leave the dishes until the next night, and then he would wash them all at once. But the next night, he was twice as hungry, so he cooked twice as big a supper, and he took twice as long to eat it, and he was twice as tired by the time he finished. So he put those dishes in the sink too. Well, as the days went by, he got hungrier and more tired, so he never washed his dishes. And after a while, there were so many dirty dishes that they didn't all fit in the sink. So he began to pile them on the table. And soon the table was so full that he began to put them on his bookshelves. And when they were full, he put them just everywhere he could find an empty place. Soon he had them all piled on the floor. In fact, the floor got to be so full of dishes that he had a hard time getting into his house. They were even piled against the door. Then one night he looked in his closet and found there wasn't one clean dish left. He was hungry enough to eat out of anything, so he ate out of the soap dish in the bathroom. It was too dirty for him to use again the next night, so then he ate out of some clean flower pots that he found down in the cellar. And when they were dirty, he ate out of his candy dishes, and he drank out of his vases. He used up everything, and even the pots he cooked his food in, and he didn't know what to do. He was so unhappy. His whole house was full of dirty dishes, and dirty flower pots, and dirty candy dishes, and dirty pots, and dirty soap dish. He couldn't even find his books. He couldn't find his alarm clock, or even his bed anymore. And he couldn't sit down to think, because even his chairs were filled with dishes. And he couldn't find the sink, so he couldn't wash his dishes. And then all of a sudden, it began to rain, and the man got an idea. He drove his big truck around to the side of the house, and he piled all the dishes and all the vases and all the flower pots and all the candy dishes and all the soap dishes on it, and he drove the truck out into the rain. And the rain fell on everything, and soon they were clean again. The rain had washed them. And then the man carried everything back into the house again. He put the dishes in the dish closet, the pots in the pot closet, and the candy dishes on the shelves, the flower pots in the cellar, the vases where the vases go, and the soap dish in the bathroom. And he was so very, very tired after carrying everything back and putting it away that he decided that from then on he would always wash his dishes just as soon as he had finished his supper. And the next night when he came home, he cooked his supper, and when he had finished eating, he washed the dishes and put them right away. He did this every night after that, too. And he is very happy now. He can find his chairs, he can find his alarm clock, and he can find his bed. It is easy for him to get into his house, too, because there are no more dishes piled up on the floor or anywhere anymore. That's one of my favorite stories. The man who didn't wash his dishes.